There seems to be a lot of you that still don't understand how the light and dark nodes work in the Root of Nightmares raid, and even more don't know what causes them to disrupt or disappear. I'm so sorry if this describes you. Maybe you should have come to me for your Sherpa run. Find me at twitch.tv/CaptainFury and I'd love to guide you properly. Now let's start with the basics. This is what I call a light seed or a light node. Essentially your job is to plant or create several of these throughout the raid. After the first encounter, the raid introduces the dark seed counterparts. Both light and dark seeds and buffs behave exactly the same. This aura around a seed indicates where you can obtain the Field of Light buff from a light seed or Flux of Darkness from a dark seed. The dark seed aura will have an orange tint to it. This aura will remain in the same spot for the first 3 times you obtain the buff, then will start to move to other locations that you have already planted seeds. These right here are the locations where a seed will eventually need to be planted. To obtain the Field of Light or Flux of Darkness buff, you need to be standing within the aura around the light or dark seed that has the aura around it when anyone, damages the seed or melees the ground below it. Once the aura seed is activated, the location where the next seed needs to be planted will be revealed and indicated by trails of light or dark pointing from the most recent seed location to the next seed location in the chain, as well as a small sphere at the next seed location. To plant the seed, anyone with the respective Field of Light or Flux of Darkness buff needs to shoot or damage this small sphere when they are in close proximity, which will then create a new full-size seed at that location. Upon planting a buff, that player's Field of Light or Flux of Darkness buff will be consumed, requiring them to re-obtain the buff from the aura seed, or someone else that still has their buff can plant the next seed. However, the next seed location for where the buff needs to be planted will not be revealed until someone triggers the aura seed again. In the second encounter, Scission, the path for both the light and dark nodes as well as when and where the aura will move remains the same every time you complete the encounter, but the path for the first and fourth encounter nodes will vary slightly from run to run. More on that in upcoming videos for each encounter. The most confusion regarding the nodes is around what causes them to disrupt or disappear. When the nodes are disrupted, all the nodes corresponding to that buff, light or dark, will disappear, preventing the buff from being obtained or planted for a short period of time. To prevent the nodes from disrupting, only one of the 2 following criteria need to have been met prior to the aura node being triggered again by a player. 1. A seed must have been planted after the aura seed was most recently triggered. Or 2. The timer of the most recently obtained buff must be expired. Essentially, no one else has the buff that you are trying to obtain. So long as at least one of these has been satisfied, you are good to trigger the aura seed to re-obtain or refresh the buff or to reveal the next seed location. For example, let's say I obtain the Field of Light buff and I'm struggling to find the next seed location. If I'm still around the aura seed, I might think, oh, my buff only has 5 seconds left, I might as well refresh it real quick. If I were to hit the aura seed before my Field of Light buff expires, it will disrupt the light seeds because I haven't created a new seed. Another example, if multiple players were to obtain the Field of Light buff at the same time, and my teammate plants their buff at the next seed location, because a new light seed has been created since the previous triggering of the light aura seed, anyone may trigger the aura seed again, which will not only refresh or re-obtain the buff for anyone within the aura, it will also cause the next seed location to be revealed, which is necessary to progress the encounter. Now, what do you do if you disrupt them? Don't worry, most of the time it isn't a huge deal, even on the second encounter. You will still get the buff upon disrupting the nodes, but all the nodes, respective to the orientation of the buff you just obtained, will disappear, including the small sphere you will need to activate to plant the buff. However, the trails of light or dark will still point you to the next seed location. Go ahead and make your way there, and just wait for the small sphere to appear. The disruption timer is shorter than a fresh buff timer, so you'll see that small sphere show up when you still have a few seconds left on your Field of Light or Flux of Darkness buff. Hope this helps, and remember to follow for more tips. I also stream over at twitch.tv/CaptainFury and love helping people learn raid mechanics.